Hello world, this is Zan, playing LA Erytheia in the Dominions 5 game, Crime and Punishment. This is going to be turn 37. So, we have more thrones being claimed now. Another dire portent. This looks like the Eyes of God, which gives them pretty much, they can see everything. They can see all the graphs, they can see all the map, all the sites that that other people have discovered. It's a pretty good one, and it's fairly cheap, and usually doesn't get dispelled. Same time, we have another portent, which is the Gale Gate. Usually this one's hard to cast because it's in Thaumaturgy, and there's not a lot of great air spells in Thaumaturgy. But at the end of the day, it's still 20 air gems, and the nations that use air gems need a near infinite supply of them. So it's a very good one. Okay. Let's see, there's a battle at Raga. So it looks like Pangaea has chosen this is where they want to go, and they're going to fight the big army of Gath, which is a big, staunch line of Gibbers. This, I'm assuming, was the undead spamming communion from earlier. Just a pretty, fairly good army of giants here against, let's see, a front line of charging centaurs and plate, some underwater auxiliaries. I'm sure I know who those were aimed at. Some birds that are going to rush in and die. Colin Goodall, who's probably going to lead a pretty beefy Astro Communion. That's a lot of mages now. There's also a lot of Grove Guard. I guess they're all thugged out, or Keeper of Traditions, my bad. They're probably all like thugged out, even though they don't even need to be thugged out, because that 30 damage battle axe at 14 is pretty good anti-thug, or anti like super combatant on its own. Oh, we have an elf. Just random little elf thug. Not a lot of sacreds. It looks like he's transitioned to just big ol' centaurs. Alright, let's see how this goes. And the reason I'm not guesstimating what these guys are going to cast is these centaur sages, they have astral and then one random path. And it can be such a grab bag to try to figure it out. But we'll just watch. So we have Natural Rain, we have Grip of Winter. Well, that's going to make this quick. Did Gath pack in Cold Resistance? Oh. Oh, they did the opposite. Oh no, they did the opposite. And now we also have Mass Flight. Mass Flight, Howl. Oh boy. So what looked like a very formidable, uh, I don't know the name, the plural or the whatnot for Gath. Gittite? These are Gittites? Gittite army. That's a lot of magic that regular troops can't deal with. Like a Fog Warrior or Mistform, you need magic weapons to stop it. And I believe their communion was to make skeletons, which also don't have magic weapons. Not to mention that they're getting under attack, and a lot of them are freezing. All the masters are going to be freezing because they're all weak against the cold right now. So pretty much the same trick I did to Pan in the previous fights, minus the mass flight. That's exactly what Pan is doing to Geth right now. I don't know what these guys are doing. Advance and cast. Yep. So it might take a second for these giants to get taken down, but really they might as well not even be swinging their weapons against the Penjian army. That's very bad. Very, very bad for us. Yeah. Yeah, it's very bad for us. And because there was a fatigue play happening, it's likely that not many people retreated. Yeah, we had 4 people retreat. So complete devastation of the Gittite army. Negligible losses, I guess, for Pangaea. That's not good. That's not good at all. We have man attacking Marignon. It's just a bunch of flagellants. That's no biggie. Okay. Meanwhile, I try to thug things out, and it just doesn't work. This was not the best turn for my team here. Pop some Iron Skin, Temper Flesh, some Earth Power because I want to get my fatigue under control, and then try to fight. But that's a lot of Cataphracts that are going to be lance charging me. They killed the doggo kind of quick. I don't have regeneration. I don't have a Ring of Regeneration. That likely would have been better than the Bracer Protection. Right, and off he goes. Yeah, that might have made the difference. Meanwhile, some Jotun wolves from the Old Winter show up on my doorstep and politely get turned away. This is luck right here. 466, 470. Neat. We have an arena fight. I participate with a random commander and he gets punked. Colin Goodall punks him. That's probably a good fight. Anemone Mace. So it hit you at reduced damage. If it hits you, it does not need to damage you. It will give you 15 armor piercing poison, which then triggers an MR check to paralyze you. Not terrible, especially since it says effect on hit, not damage. Shambler Skin, Burning Pearl, and I guess this is a people's arena, so there's no magic allowed. But this guy's got a Stinger, which is just straight up armor piercing. Yeah. So he got chonked a lot harder than this guy did. Not to mention this guy, so it's armor piercing poison, so the armor actually does take an effect, and this guy's poison resistant, just naturally so. Because I think Nagarajas are actually snakes. Yeah, that's unfortunate. And then we have final battle where the Nagaraja also beats up the Illithid Lord. That makes sense too. Yeah, that both makes sense. Okay, and the Nagaraja was awarded my Rhyme Hammer. Thankfully, I wasn't fighting anyone this turn, but there goes my hammer. I was planning on using that for things, but the game had better plans than mine. Oh, and I didn't do this earlier. I probably should have. Eyes of Gods by Ulm and Gelgate is by Relay of all things, which is kind of funky. But I guess they've got Dark Skies, so they've already got the. Actually, their team has a lot of globals. They even have Will of Misery up. It's pretty nutty global control by them, but I guess with Relay having all that astral power, it's they can kind of take their slots by just getting rid of whatever global you have. In the meantime, Man is moving off his capital with a large army. Likely we yelled at him enough that that Pangean army was scary, and then we're very thankful we did because Gath's vanguard is completely gone. I'm stuck on my peninsula. I'm pretty sure I'm going to move out this turn to try to relieve Raga. I don't remember what move I made. But all I know is Man's army is even further out, but he's going to deal with these devils, I hope, because these devils would be bad news for me because they'll be just immediately on my back line, and the script that it would take to fight that many devils is not the same script that you want to use to fight this Pangean army. They both involve Storm, but since the devils don't need buffs, they're just going to be turn 1 in your back line way before Storm comes up. So that's going to be fun. So it's Man and I are now going to try to relieve Raga, which is finally under our control, even though it's at half the population. It got cold. And that, I guess, would be the most of turn 47. So let's move on a little bit more. Let's see. I have another commander cast Teleport, and this turn we have gotten blown up by horrors. So there's a spell, it's Blood 5. I'll probably do this in my Abyssea series by now. I can't remember. But essentially, you roll the dice, you get a commander, and then sometimes they get some units, and usually they're pretty powerful units. Like this guy's ethereal with decent protection, pierce resistant, It's got an armor-piercing stinger with death poison, can mind blast you, it flies. Stronger magic power. Just generally good units that can go and sometimes solo PD. This is like a good roll right here. These are armor piercing. Yeah, so 4 armor piercing attacks that inflict weakness. And a belly maul attack. These guys are size 3. The belly maul will actually eat you, or it'll do twice as much damage. So 40 damage if this hits you, if you're size 2. Big sack of hit points, low protection, good stats. And they all usually have magic power. So even better stats if you have magic dominion. It seems like a larger cast. Mantises are also good because they have very high protection. Ton of attacks. So they're fun because you can use these, then you can also teleport. You can stack as many casts of this as you want on a province. Um, it'll generally work out. This poor guy was site searching. He got eaten by this guy. And that takes us to the rest of the turn where we are getting Alpha Striked. Let's see, we have some Jotuns. This is the first time these show up, so I might as well show it. So enlargement, I guess this is so that he does not get eaten by a slime. Lifelong protection is always fantastic on thugs because it gives you infinite reinforcements. A pike for a bunch of repels. Yeah, pretty solid raider. Like it can be easily countered. It's like if I cloud trapeze a bunch of things on it right now, it'd have a hard time. But it can shapeshift into a wolf, and the wolf is stealthy. It's got to give all of this gear to a like scout because the wolf only has miscellaneous slots, so it'll keep this, but it loses everything else. So you give all these gear to a scout. The scout stealths off. This guy turns into a wolf and stealths off. And then the next turn you give all the gear back, and you attack the current province as the wolf. They're pretty darn good at what they do. What else we got? I get attacked by this Vanyorl. See? Gath is just pinging the army. A large Atlantean army with a lot of sacreds, actually. I've fought Atlantis a few times. I rarely see these guys. I usually see just a bunch of Ice Guard. They do everything the sacreds can do. Although the Z's hit very hard, they're more offensive, I guess, compared to the Ice Guard that don't hit too hard. Although you usually see the halberd version rather than this like spear shield variety. Okay, where were we? We were Atlantis. Man gets attacked by Marignon with that big devil squad I was worried about. Man has no business winning this fight. That's a hell of a lot of devils. A bunch of crossbows, and the flagellants are, I guess, flagellant. It's a good flagellant bless, but they're not going to do much against crossbows. So Grippa kind of sees this coming if I fight a bunch of devils, so he makes this big block formation with his units. And remember that the great stats that devil have, but low protection. Well, here's some crossbow bolts. They don't care about your stats. They're just going to go for your protection. And all of these guys have crossbows. So this half of devils gets back here before Storm gets cast, because again, that turn 1 attack. And then you just throw down. Problem is, by now we have this communion. Are they not communion? Oh, he doesn't even. Okay, there it is. There is a communion. Casts Fog Warriors, which isn't the best. It'll stop the Trident for 1 hit or so, but the Barbed Tail will take it off. What's going to happen now, though, is now that these mages are ready to fire, they're going to fire point blank thunderbolts into these devils. And although they are fantastic units, the Fog Warriors is enough to keep man's infantry alive long enough for these these close range thunderbolts to just do their work. Look at that. Delete those squares, paralyze the rest. False Fetters is okay, but not against demons. They have high morale. Even the priests are helping by doing Smite Demon. This guy's helping by trying to knife it with the dagger. Meanwhile, the wardens kind of walked up and said, "I'm just gonna take the rest of this army by myself because they have the air shield in this form, luck. Yeah, they could probably this little squad here can probably just take all of this. Yeah, this was the main focus. These stupid devils have been whining about for the last few turns, and man, just take their butt. Just Thunderstrike. There you go. The flagellants might do these wardens in, even with the luck. Huh. I guess this battle's different too, with man retreating. That's unfortunate. Those wardens would have stuck around. They might have been able to take all this out. Yeah. Real life, I guess. Marignon attacked and lost. They lost all their devils. Just huge. These are like 8 blood slaves each. And I think that, I mean, realistically, that probably should have HP routed them. 60 devils, 35 hit points each. That should have HP routed them a lot earlier than it did. Yeah, just those magisters doing work. Very good fight by man. Fight we've been waiting for, huh? Okay, we've got some vampires. We have a big Olmish army. Still managed to lose a lot of troops here. Interesting. Yep, Gath PD manages to beat up the Scrotty because the one weakest Scrotty do have is they're still quite squishy. They're still quite squishy. Also fairly good kit. Usually want to do flesh eaters because they're gonna take a lot of damage um, with their low protection. I mean, for a thug, low protection, low defense. But that'll keep them in the fight while they regenerate up, and the lifelong protection keeps spawning more help for them. I wonder what ends up happening. That's looking pretty good for him. He takes a big hit and then he just regenerates it. Yeah, I'm not sure when it went down here. Oh, he switched into a wolf form. Why? I have no idea why he switched into a wolf. Well, whatever it was, he's dead now because he lost all his gear. Interesting. Another fight where I guess the werewolf died. Okay. I'm raiding down here in the first forest out of my little forever fort. More vampires, more vampires. Okay, type all the vampires and all the werewolves, and I guess the big sieging forces Atlantis. Okay. This isn't the craziest fight, just a bunch of merman chaff. Oh, I remember this. 11,000 population. Get an earthquake. So like the other turn gave me all the good stuff, and now this shenanigans happens. This idiot up here, 3-3, just coming in and bop my entire population, one of my best provinces, and just eats it. Oh, that's up here. Yeah, now this was a 12,000 population province. Now it's 600. It's garbage. Absolute garbage. But I guess sometimes that's what happens. Don't build your forts in a forest. All right. With that, I think I'll leave it on a quick turn 48. Um, we had man defend his position here on top of this fort, the last Dragon fort. But I think these Marinese reinforcements from the south here might be more than the remainder of man's forces can handle. And on top of that, his retreat might be a little cut off if Pangea sends some sort of an army down in 282. These guys are all dead. Likely he won't because he's cracked the fort. So I guess this is my one and only attempt to grab this army here and march in and relieve Raga. And if I fail, then Raga, the complete opposite of our plans happens. Rather than us, now we get to take over all this lands. This Pangean army, and I guess that little Marinese Devil Force would have inflicted enough losses on us that we go back to our stalemate. And the big relief army from Man has had to turn around and deal with this garbage that just happened on our flank because frankly we've just taken way too long in this war. Pangea has done a good job on putting his team on his back and just stopping us. He really did. I don't I don't remember that many plays that I made that were, I guess, wrong in the scope of it. Um, but I guess the ultimate problem is, yeah, it's turn 48. We're still part of our first war that we've been doing for the last 30 turns. And yeah, someone else has decided that we look like lunch. Honestly, I don't think this team had a first war. Or yeah, they did. They did. They fought Kalem for a little bit. But considering they still own this throne here, it doesn't look like it went too well. So yeah, we'll leave it. We'll leave it here on turn 48, and we'll see how we deal with this Alpha Strike and the Pangean army in the next one.